just casted us live to the Facebook group. So we're cruising. Hello, everyone. If you're watching this from Facebook, hi, I'm Lillie. I am one of the community managers here at House Call Pro, and this is our LayPros meetup. It is a meetup we host every third Tuesday of the month at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, and we usually bring on special guests. Otherwise, we've got Irum Jones, who is Coach Irum, working with Conquer, and she is also a LayPros. She was one of the founders of this LayPros group, and she always brings us amazing information, tips, tricks, tools, all that good stuff. So it's either her and I, or we got a special guest like we have today, Miss Irum Jones, who is also another LayPros, mother, like many of you, mother, wife, business owner, wears a lot of hats. And we're talking all about customer communication today. So if you're watching us over on Facebook, I'm going to drop the link to join this webinar. We'd love to have you over. As you can see, it's this little small crew here. We love to, turn our cameras on. It feels like we're all getting together in real life. Wish we could on a more regular basis, but yeah, join us if you're able to. This is a very safe space. What stays in this LayPros community stays in this LayPros community. So without further ado, I'll also be monitoring the comments and the chat here on our Zoom. So if anything is speaking to you, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat, drop them in the comments, or shout them out. We're going to make this real conversational. So I'm going to pass it over to Irum, and then Irum, will you introduce Amber for us?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So hi, LayPros. So Coach Irum with the Conquer community. If you don't know what Conquer is a group of certified coaches that are in the home service industry. And so we help you with tools, tips, resources, and I get to double it up with my hats and also serve as a community manager, which means that I get to advocate for the pros. And that's absolutely what I love to do. And so if there's anything that you're ever searching for, you're just like, Irum, I need a tip. I need a tool. I'm having this pain point. I'm your gal. I'm going to be obsessive and find a solution for it. Before we turn it over to Amber Jones for like this Q&A interactive piece, I wanted to show you ladies a exercise to do in your business. Debraj knows this way too well. It's called the Risk Matrix. Okay. And we've been working on this within the Conquer community. But one of the things before we actually get into the solution is talking through what are the risks that are happening in our business. Are we even aware that there's a risk? Okay. So Lillie, would you be able to pass me the screen share if possible so I can share with okay, you got it. Look at you, we're already on top of stuff. Okay. Can everyone see my screen? Give me a double thumbs up if you see it. Okay, awesome. All right. This can look really complicated really quick, but I'm going to walk you through this exercise. So here's the thing. You can make this in Excel as well, and it can be a little bit more interactive. What I'm doing is I'm using a tool called Faststone, which allows me to quickly put images on here. Now, let me explain the magic to you, okay? The risk matrix is all about figuring out what are the things that are impacting your business, impacting it in a negative way. Either you're bleeding it out, right, by funds or something like that, or it's preventing you from bringing in income. Does that make sense to everyone? So what are the risks? And sometimes when we're in the industry, like, hello, I'm in HVAC and electrical, it's our peak season and all that other stuff. But sometimes we have seasonal risks, right? Like what happens if your top performer ends up quitting on your company during peak season? Well, that means it's going to have a lot more impact because you have less capacity. Okay, so first things first, I want to empower you to learn the risk matrix, which you are going to learn in less than 3 minutes. And then I'm going to tee it over to Amber because there's a few risks that you might not even be aware of that she's going to cover for you. Okay, so first things first, let's size it up a little bit. There's the severity of the risk, okay? Like how much of an impact is it going to have on your business? Are we focusing on the very high related issues and we're leaving all this other stuff to the side? Or are we hyper focusing on something that doesn't even really hurt us as much, but focusing on the wrong things at the wrong time? So first things first, Lady Pros, I want you to go ahead and grab a screenshot of this, okay? And I want you to understand that if the severity is insignificant, that means that you're okay with losing $100 or maybe $50 per incident, okay? Something very minor. It doesn't hurt that much. But the other thing is, Lady Pros, if it's severe, it can potentially cost you millions or even hundreds of thousands. Or maybe you're like, Irum, I'm looking for a smaller scale. So $5,000 is pretty severe to me. That's okay. Whatever your bandwidth is, go ahead and put that down. Customize this for your business. Now, here's the other thing I want to call out, Lady Pros, is the likelihood of something to happen. Does the likelihood of something to happen 100% of the time grab your attention? It shouldn't. Let's make sure that we're catching it before it gets to 100%. You guys still following me on this one? All right. So like, for example, I put down, if it's rare in the world of electrician on call, which is one of the businesses I own, rare means it's less than 1% likeliness to happen. That might be a callback. That might be, I don't know, a unicorn flying to the front of my office, I don't know, and damaging a vehicle. I don't know, but something very rare. It's probably not going to happen unless if there's like really crazy conditions. But check this out. We have unlikely to happen, possible to happen, likely, and almost certain. If someone brings something up to my attention that is a 30% likeliness to happen, I'm going to consider that as something that I need to have on my radar. What Amber is going to talk to you about today is about communications and the likeliness that possibly you think you're communicating with your customers, but either they're not receiving your communications or it's not getting to them because there's other barriers in the way, okay? Now, what does almost certain mean to your business? Does that mean you're going to wait until it's 100% likeliness of it to happen? Why wait until it gets that bad? Maybe your almost certain criteria is 40%. Listen, there's no right or wrong answer to this. This is all about your comfort level. But here's what happens. Once we put some parameters to this, right? We frame it up. Now, this is where the magic happens. Lady Pros, I want you to think about a current risk that you have in your business that you try to plan for or mitigate. Like, if this happens, then we're going to do this. Maybe you have severe weather, right, Lillie? For all of our Lady Pros that are out there in Oklahoma, they were impacted by just the severe storms coming in. There were issues there. You had to shut down your business. Texas, the same thing. Tornado comes by, shutting down. Now, what are we going to do to make sure payroll meets, to make sure we contact our customers? Just having that level of awareness is super important. So I'm just going to make this interactive to show you how easy it is to communicate risks in your business. So if you're ever looking at something going, I think it's a big risk, but then when I bring it over to my hubby or my partners or my business partners, no one takes me seriously. This is the tool for you, okay? So I'm going to put down tornado season. Don't judge me, I'm a horrible speller, but that's not my priority today. Tornado season. Okay, all right. So if it's tornado season, we already know the likeliness of this to happen is every single year, right? It's seasonal, happens every single year. So we got to plan for it. Is it a 30% likeliness? No, it's up here. So I'm going to put this somewhere in the middle. And based off of my criteria, you know what? I'm going to move this right here in the middle because I want to indicate to everyone in my business that, yeah, we have to plan for this. There might be loss of time. There may be loss of the neighborhoods that we can get into. Customers might, be looking for something else to do. It's not a priority of the service that we offer. So I'm going to stick it here so I don't lose sight of it because I need a solution. I might need to simply communicate with them to say, hey, I'm checking in. Are you guys okay? Right? For our customers as well as our employees. So we stick that risk into this spot. Now, here's the thing. This matrix is going to tell you how important that stuff is. If it's in the green zone, leave it alone, right? Oh, that rhymes. Lily, it rhymes. So we got to, coin that. If it's red, red alert, you got to do something about it. You've got to have a mitigation plan around it. You should be discussing how this risk that you've identified needs to be mitigated in a way to bring it down so it's less damaging, okay, to your business. So this is just an example of that. Now let's talk about what Amber is here to really hone in on today. How many of us send out text message notifications as a way to communicate with our customers, whether that's whether that's marketing or pay your invoice or checking in on you because you subscribed and you wanted this information, right? So maybe marketing, right, is one of them. What happens if we have a poor marketing campaign where we have put dollars behind it so we can effectively work? And remember, marketing is just another word of saying, I'm bringing a level of awareness to you. That's what marketing does, increases your level of awareness. So let's say you spent a whole bunch of money on some really awesome software, really awesome scripting, really awesome graphics, just for that marketing campaign not to perform well. You spent money on it, right? And it didn't bring you the value that you were looking for. So maybe over time, or maybe right now, you're thinking to yourself, none of my marketing campaigns are working. It's like no one's even reading them. There's smoke. Remember, there's smoke when you're in the red zone. So this is where we're going to come in and talk about one of the biggest risks that a lot of entrepreneurs don't know about. So I'm going to throw this marketing risk right over here in the middle, because depending on when you're watching this video, you might have already lost millions or the potential to make the millions, or you might have caught it early enough where it just started sneaking up on you, okay? Amber, did I tee this up the right way? Did I explain this?
Yes, you did an awesome job. I mean, I'm I'm over here taking this like, ooh, oh, this is awesome. Okay, awesome. Yeah.
So I'm
So
going to share this with you, LayPros, and I'm going to put invoicing as well, Amber, okay? So customers not paying on time.
yes,
What does that do? Cash flow issues, right?
yeah. Another one is online reviews. I know a lot of people have been having trouble
Okay.
requesting online reviews.
Mhm.
Absolutely. All right. And online reviews. All right. We're going to tee this up. Online reviews.
Oh, it's another one that I've been hearing. Reminders, 1-day reminders, especially for house cleaning companies
Oh,
that have a cancellation fee, like the
Amber, this is so
confirmations.
good. Reminders for jobs. So if our lady pros are watching this and they're like, oh my gosh, I've been getting higher cancellations.
Hmm.
I've been having higher change of appointments. I'm not getting as many online reviews. That customer isn't paying me on time. What's going on? These are all symptoms and they all live in the red zone. Do we have an agreement on that? I mean, these are red zone items over
Oh
here.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Because lady pros, let's get this straight. We want our money when we're done doing the job, right? Okay, let's be clear, right? And we want those online reviews, that's social proof. So Amber, I'm going to tee it over to you. Lady pros, I want you to capture this, okay? Because Amber's going to hone in on it. Lily's going to ask some questions away, but I want you to keep this, add even more risk to it. But today you're going to learn how to mitigate some of these that we have showing and displaying already. Okay, Lily, I'm handing the controls back over to you.
Thank
I'll
you.
drop the
Thank
link
you
in
for
the
that
resources.
presentation. That was awesome. I tried
Yeah.
screenshotting it and dropping it in the comments of our live, but I couldn't.
Okay.
So we'll have to do that later, but y'all can screenshot it yourself. Definitely do that. This is amazing. This tool is so helpful. So Amber, I'm just going to pass it over to you. Will you share
All
a little
right.
bit about who you are, where you're based, what you do, and then we'll get into it.
Awesome sauce. Okay, well, thanks, ladies, for having me on. My name is Amber Jones. I am here in a little town called Greenville, Texas. It's outside of Dallas. And my husband and I, we own KJ's Window Cleaning, mainly in the Frisco-ish area. Actually, not too far from Irum. And so, yeah, so I've been doing that for the last 5.5 years. And my background actually, though, is online marketing. You know, ads and all these things. I'm a geek, right? I'm not gonna lie, I'm a nerd. Automations and all these things. And so I worked with other people's companies, mostly digital products. But I got sick. After I got sick, my husband says I need to provide, and I think this window cleaning will do it. I didn't believe him at first, and I saw it with my own eyes. I said, you know what, I got to get behind you 100%. So over these last 5 years, you know, it's grown as our family has grown. And so that's kind of my background story. I used to clean windows, but I suck at it. So I stopped doing it. And I said, you know what? Maybe I should just do the back end or front end, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, so I'm usually in the marketing / automation side of things, but the things that really excites me though is having a really good customer experience. That was one thing I was always obsessed with our company, just because we had a slumlord that when we needed to call someone, I would literally have panic attacks because I didn't know who was coming to our house. And so it was really, really important to me that as a company, we provided the best customer experience as possible, you know, as humanly possible. So that's kind of a little bit about my background and as fast as I can. And so something happened recently in our business, actually, about how old is the baby? 7 months. So about 9 months ago, we actually did a promotion. We did a cross promotion with another local company, and we got some amazing leads. As we were trying to contact the leads that wanted a quote from us, we noticed that it took a long time to get in contact with them. We tried calling, we tried texting. I usually text, by the way. I 95% of our people, I don't even pick up the phone, y'all. I got 4 kids. I'm not trying to pick up the phone. Like my business relies 100% on text messaging. And so finally, when this person, we couldn't get in contact with him, we called him and he says, I'm so sorry I didn't respond to you sooner. Your number popped up as spam. I said, oh, like, wait a second, what? This is, yeah, on your caller ID, it shows spam likely, and then the text message. Like, I said, I didn't know this was a thing, right? And I didn't really know what was happening. I didn't know what to do, so I didn't do anything. Until it was a recurring theme. And I says, dude, what's going on? So that's kind of how I delved into this topic to begin with, is because it affected our business personally. And I don't know about you, I'm not a spammer. None of us on here are spammers, right? And so what I was hoping to share with everyone is just spread awareness about what's going on. Why is it happening? Because the more and more people I talk to and I checked, their caller IDs popping up as spam. And, you know, I'm going to be talking specifically about text messages, but they all go hand in hand. I'm talking about text messages right now because that is what is affected. It's in the red zone right now for many people, and most people don't even know it, right? So that chart we just looked at, it's in the red zone. I'm checking in people's accounts and their messages are getting blocked. And so what I want to share with everyone is just generate awareness, because there's new rules that we as business owners, we have to play by the new rules. And so what I'm hoping to do is kind of delve into a little bit of what those new rules are, why it's happening, what's going on, how you can check, and kind of give you ladies a game plan on how to be ahead, because this is something we don't want to be reactive about. We want to be proactive about this before it happens. And sadly, it is affecting some people already. And so, yeah, that's kind of where I wanted to start with this.
I love it. Awesome. Amber, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. You know, we are so encouraging of the trades and beyond, but of business owners in the trades to set up automation and take advantage of the automation that exists out there. And now we're at this point where, yeah, it's like, okay, everyone's put in the work to set it up, and then for it to not be effective.
Yeah.
It's so disheartening. And bless that customer for telling you, and all the ones after that for telling you and letting you know.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So what I wanted to do is kind of cover some of the top questions that we're seeing and kind of let, like I said, just spread that awareness. I think I'm sharing my screen. Am I sharing my screen?
You are. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll put this together, guys. So I'm a visual person because what I'm about to mention to you might sound like alphabet soup because we talking about all the regulators, the FTC, the FCC. So I did like this little drawing thing. Usually I draw, but so I'm gonna just put together what I have. It's not perfect, but the message is more important than the presentation side of it. So the new rules of text messaging and phone marketing. Okay, so I wanted to, well, let's see, why are customer communications so important? That was one of the things we want to talk. We've already talked about that, why it's important. Texting specifically has a 98% open rate compared to email, which if you have a good list has a 20% average open rate. This is why we need to protect and do whatever it takes for text messages. Okay. And so what's going on is there is a threat to text messages in general because of scammers. Okay. So I've got my little doodles here. I think I did it right. If I didn't do it right, I'm just going to talk through it. There we go. Okay. So here's how we got here. Whoops, I clicked too far ahead. All right. So over here, there's literally 40 billion scam calls and texts per month in the United States and North America. That's what's happening right now. And so we as business owners realize how profitable picking up the phone and sending text messages. It's one of the highest ROIs that you can get as a business owner. From after you generate the lead, we got to work the lead, right? But scammers know this as well. And so over the last 30 years, ever since there's been telephones, there's been spam calls, scam calls, and all these things. And so that's essentially what's happening. It's been this battle, right, over these last 30 or 40 years. And 1990. So that's, you got the scammers over here, and then you've got the consumers over here. And so what happened is essentially those consumers went to the FTC and the regulators, and they're like, hey, I'm losing money. I'm getting scammed out of this stuff. These people are pretending to be legit. Y'all, please do something. Okay. And so back in 1991, that's where the FTC, FCC comes into place. They put in place what we know as caller ID and do not call. I guarantee 90% of us are on the do not call list ourselves, right? And so there were things that were put in place. And so now what's happening is the FTC and the FCC, right? They're trying to put things in place to help combat and cut back on these scam calls and text messages. And again, I'm going to focus mostly on text messages because that's what's affected the most. And so then they call in the phone carriers, like your big carriers, your AT&T, your T-Mobile, your Verizon, and now they put it on them. They say, hey guys, this is your responsibility to help us to start blocking these spam calls, right? This is a good thing. I guess I should have prefaced that. Like what I'm about to tell you, please don't kill the messenger. This is a good thing in the end. But let's just keep going here, okay? And so in this battle between the scammers, right, and the FTC trying to help protect these consumers, here we are as business owners, we're kind of caught in the middle. So what's going on is like these phone carriers, they've put these blocks here for the scammers, but they're like, oh, wait a second, hold on. It's business owner, wait, what's going on here, right? And so these are steps that are being put in place now. These regulations have actually been in place for years and years and years. And some of the more common ones have been in place for actually about a year and a half, but they are just now enforcing it to the point that phone carriers are blocking text messages and marking caller IDs as spam. And the awareness about it to business owners hasn't really been there. They've kind of left that responsibility to the business owners and to the phone providers like your Vonage, your Grasshopper, all these things, okay? And so that's essentially what's going on, all right? And I'm going to kind of fly through here because I get really passionate about it. So essentially they put these things in place, all right? And I'm just going to fly through these. I'm not going to talk a ton about it, and my computer's freezing up on me.
Amber, I just want to say I'm loving this.
Oh, thank you.
You can dive into it. Right, ladies? It's like this is very fascinating.
Yeah, it is. And so these were all the kind of things they put in place. All right. So you got the TCPA. So this is the alphabet soup I was talking about. So you got the FCC. So we got all these people we have to answer to. Long story short, guys, gals. And so each of these things are technical things or registrations that us business owners have to go through. Okay. This is the end goal that they want. Okay. The end goal that they want is they want to know, who are you as a business and are you legitimate? And if so, I need you to prove it to us. Okay. And then if you are a business, what are your business details? Right. So that's some of the things that they're actually looking for. And they say, oh, by the way, do you actually have consent to communicate with these consumers that you're consenting to? Oh, you say you do? You got to prove it to us now. Right. And then they say, well, okay, good, good, good. Well, what type of messages are you sending? Oh, you're sending notifications and every promotion. Okay. You got to prove it. Literally, you have to prove it. And so this is essentially where we're at right now. And then the other thing is, are you scrubbing against the DNC? Are you essentially, are you communicating with people that want to hear from you? That's the bottom line. And if so, if you are communicating with the people that want to hear from you, do they know how you're going to be communicating with them? Do they know how frequently you're going to be communicating with them and all that jazz? And so that was my goal. I was hoping that as we get through this, the little colors, this is my interpretation of this, by the way. The laws and things that I'm referring to, you can always reference in Google if you want to, TCPA, FCC. The specific regulation I'm talking about right now is called A2P10DLC. And really quickly, I'll break it down. I'll try not to break it down too much. If I get excited, I geek out about this, guys, y'all. So if I go too fast, if you have any questions, let me know. So let's talk about how it actually correlates with our business. Because like I said, Irum helped us. Actually, I don't have that. You have to go over a lot of my questions now. So because we already honed in, but let's talk about who does this affect. Okay. So who does this affect? Okay. So if we're here, we're probably using House Call Pro or some kind of CRM, right? And so it affects you. Here's why. A2P means application to person. So this means if you have to log into a software, if you're using a voice over IP, or if you're using any automated text messaging, you are now on what's called the application to person. Okay. So if you're using those things, this is something you definitely want to pay attention to. Okay. If you're using just your cell phone, if you're a smaller company, you're just using your cell phone to manually text, that is called P2P, person to person. Okay. If you're doing P2P, according to everything that I've seen, this is my interpretation of it, right? You don't have to worry about this. But if you're using a CRM, a software, if you're using an app on your phone that you have to log into, you are now application to person. So this is something that you want to pay attention to. All right. So I got check. Okay. Check mark on that. All right. So those are who are affected by it. So the sad and challenging thing is a lot of times people don't know if they're affected by it. So we're talking about how do you know if you're affected by it? Most of the people that I talk to, they hear back from a customer. Or they say, oh, I'm going to send you. I literally just talked to a lady that had a cleaning company, 40-year-old cleaning company. And she calls back a customer and they say, because she says before she hangs up, you're going to receive a quote here shortly, right? And she said that a few hours later, that person texted her back saying, I never got your quote. And she freaked out because what kind of good customer experience is that, right? What kind of first impression is that if we're promising to send them something and it got blocked and you don't even know it? So it's ruining that first initial presentation of your company, right? But what fortunately though, one of the things that you can do is if you do send text messages with a customer, you can always follow up and say, hey, I just wanted to make sure you got it. Can you let me know that it got there okay? It makes you look good, right? Because makes you look like you have over the top friendly customer service. And you're like, oh, wow, they're actually checking on me. That's one of the easiest ways to find out. The other ways to find out is it really just depends on your phone service provider or your software provider. So the first thing you want to do is I recommend make a list of every software or system that you use that sends text messages. Just do a brain dump, right? And here comes the fun part, y'all. You ready? Contact each one of them individually, contact their customer support, and ask them. You say, hey, is there anything I need to do to register my business to make sure my phone, my text messages do not get blocked? Every company, literally every phone carrier in the United States, if you are texting the United States, they have to have a process well, they should. If they don't, shame on them. But most of them have a process in place. I even contacted House Call Pro, and I called them today, and they says yes. If someone hasn't done it, a little red banner will pop up inside of House Call Pro, where they're going to want to start you on this registration process of the A2P 10DLC. One thing I also forgot to mention is it affects you if you use automated text messaging of a local phone number. So if you have a local area code phone number, which of course we want to have that, right? Because it has the highest response rate. Let me make sure I'm getting everything. I'm freestyling and I'm in the zone. If I'm going too fast or if anyone has any questions, please let me know. Where was I at?
You're killing it. You're killing it.
Oh,
That's so great. Thank you for reaching out to House Call Pro. So it's so easy.
Yeah. So now let me so when you go to House Call Pro or whomever, you know, your voice over IP, your call, some people have track. So some people have like Responsibid and then they'll have House Call Pro, or they'll have like a voice over IP, or they'll have call tracking. So you can have phone numbers in all these different places, right? And so that's why it's really, really important to go to each one of them individually. Now, the good news is that everyone's going to be asking most likely for the same information, okay? So what you want to have available to you, I think I did do this one on a slide. There we go. Oh, yep. So you want to have your business info. Am I sharing my screen? I do this all the time. And I forget if I'm sharing. Okay, awesome. Okay, so you want to make sure you have your correct business information. Okay, so if you're registered as an LLC, incorporated, or if you're a sole proprietor, you want to have that information. You want to make sure that you have, I forgot the document name. I don't know if you know, Irum, but the document that actually is the letter of like your EIN. I forgot what document that is called. But you want to use whatever is on the Secretary of the State address. The exact punctuation to the T, because what happens is when you fill out this form, they are going to cross-reference it. When I say they, I mean, so the phone service providers have to answer to people called the campaign registry. They're the ones that the regulators have put in place to approve or deny these things here, okay? And so what the campaign registry people, what they're going to be looking for is that first portion of it. They need to verify your business, and to do it automated and quickly, you want to do everything possible to make sure if you live on 123 Maple Avenue and Avenue is spelled out, be sure to put it like that. If it's Avenue and it's AVE, and that's what's on your business, official business, you want to match it to whatever's on the Secretary of State. You also want to make sure, so if you're a sole proprietor, double check that it's whatever the Secretary of the State has for you. So if you want to check your county or like I said, Secretary of the State, double check those things. It's a pain, but it'll save you tons of time in the long run. And I think I didn't finish that. So I'm going to stop the screen share and just go here. So those are the things that you definitely want to have in place. The other thing that they're going to look for is they're going to look at your website. Make sure you have a website. If you do not have a website, get a basic website. It doesn't have to be fancy or flashy, or even a legitimate Facebook fan page. They just want to make sure that if you are truly a business entity, they're going to want something to look back at, right? And so on your website, okay, you want to make sure you have a privacy policy in place. And you can Google free privacy policy generator, right? Download a privacy policy. And then also they're going to want to make sure that your form on your website actually has access like a express written consent. So meaning they are checking the box that says, yes, you may contact. I give you permission to contact me via phone, via text message and email, and even using an automated system, I give you permission to do that. All right. And so these are the things that they're going to check. So it's good to have kind of these things in place before you sit down and fill out the form. Filling out the form itself isn't hard, right? It's the stuff before the form. Oh, and another thing is they want sample messages. Okay. And so when you go through, copy and paste some of the messages that you have in your House Call Pro, right? Just copy and paste some of those messages, those text messages. If you're using it for invoice reminders and you want to make sure that doesn't get blocked, copy and paste that exact word for word with an actual example link in it. Okay. And then make sure your messages also have like a opt out language. So PS, if you want to unsubscribe, reply end or stop. Okay. So these are some of the basic things. And I know I'm spitting out a lot. It's a lot. I'm not going to lie. It's a lot. But if you can do these basic foundational things, you'll be ahead of the curve right now on that. And so that's pretty much what I have in regards to that. Now, the process, the reason why it's important right now is because we've already passed the first deadline. The first deadline to get this registered was actually July 5th. And so what's happening is between July 5th and August 31st, phone carriers, specifically Twilio, and I'm talking nerd talk. If I start talking nerd talk too much, let me know. But contact your providers, like I said, because between now and August 31st, the blocking and the filtering will become more and more until you are completely blocked if you're not registered by the end of August 31st. And so that's why it's so important. I can't tell you, I was able to log, depending on, like I said, the phone service carrier, you can also ask them if they have a log, like an error log or a delivery log. So you can go back and see what got delivered and what didn't, right? And so I was able to look back behind the scenes. I've gone through dozens of people's accounts right now. And you want to double check these things because I'm seeing invoices get blocked. I'm seeing 48 reminder text messages and technicians are showing up at houses and they're like, hey, I didn't know you were coming. I'm seeing review requests getting blocked. All of these things are getting blocked. So it's really, really important as a first step is to contact every software provider, anything that sends text messages. It's really important to contact their support. And guys, be nice, but be firm because sometimes these support people, even they don't even know what's going on. And so just say like, are you sure this is a new regulate? Like, are you sure you don't know? Because this is a new regulation that I think affects everyone. Is there a way you can please double check for me? Right? Be friendly but firm because we got to do what we got to do to make sure like our messages get through. So I think I saw a message that says, does this affect everyone? Did I see that in the chat as a question?
Yeah. Is this all of us?
Is it all of us? Okay. So if you are, it affects every business that is using automated text messages. So if you're using yes, in the USA, it also affects any country that is texting the USA. That means if you're in Canada, you're on the border and you service people in the US, it affects you too. I've had to register some people for that as well. The other question is, will it affect Canada? I'm not very familiar with Canada law, but it does seem that Canada is trying to follow suit with something similar down the road to help block that. So just be aware of it. I don't know if there's any other questions, everyone. I think I covered everything, and I know I went really fast and covered a lot of content.
Well, why don't we open it up for questions? Anyone out there, if you're on Zoom with us, shout it out. And then I'm thinking, Irum, maybe you can jump in if you have any ideas, because like something I was just thinking of, Amber, you said, privacy policy, you can Google that. I think a lot of these things you can achieve with ChatGPT as well. So I don't know, Irum, maybe you have access to resources that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I love everything that Amber talked about. They are all tangible things. Like if you decided today that you want to burn the midnight oil, guess what? You don't have to burn the entire midnight oil. You can actually just put together a plan. And this is what we call a mitigation plan, right? When it talks about risk, we identified the risk. it is a big risk. It can get in the way of you showing up to customers, getting your receipts, getting your invoices turned in, as well as just the communication, the marketing aspect, right? That a customer experience piece. It impacts every single part of your business. As business owners, what's the thing that we have to do? Communicate. We always have to communicate. So right now, one of our communication channels is being compromised. That's what it is, flat out. So we need to figure out what we're going to do to make sure that it poses the less risk as possible. So one of the things I wanted to throw out there is, ladies, today, go in, look at your website. Do you have a privacy page? If you don't, take a look at a couple of different variations. Make sure you read before you copy and paste it over, and that you have the right controls internally to uphold whatever that privacy statement is, right? That's number one. That can be achieved in less than 30 minutes, right? Just getting that verbiage pulled down. Secondly, I always bring it back to your KPIs, right? What key performance indicators, whether it's in house call or a spreadsheet you have on the side to verify that you're connecting and you have a hold of your pipeline, what do the KPIs show you? See, if you were paying attention to the KPIs, or if you had an awareness of what those KPIs are, like a reduced open rate, right, Amber? That's one of them, right?
Absolutely.
If you're using a system that sends automated text messages and it's a third-party system, and all of a sudden you notice that your client base that you're very active with has a 90% open rate, and now all of a sudden it dwindled down to 60%, guess what, Lady Pro? We got issues, right? Even if we see a deviation by 10%, that's still important enough to see that dip, that pattern to be changed, to look into it.
And if
so
go
ahead.
I'm sorry, I just wanted, before I forget, I have a bad memory. And one thing that I wanted to mention is take note of the specific messages that are not being responded to, because they might not block your entire phone number. It could be the text messages with a link to your invoice, right? So if you're noticing invoices drop down, right? When you're looking at your KPIs, like Irum was mentioning, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was just thinking, like, all the messages might not be blocked. You could be in the middle of a conversation with someone, and if you're talking and you say a word like price or cost, that could be flagged as spam. Okay. So if you're in the middle of a conversation with someone and all of a sudden you don't hear a response, take a look back at what you're messaging to them. So
absolutely, Amber, that's so good. That's so good. And because these are new regulations that are being put forth, something I want to kind of bring up to everyone's attention is whatever the FTC, right, or the FCC does, and it kind of crosses over because one of those entities, right, it is all about consumer protection. So it wants to make sure that it's protecting the consumers from spammers and all that other stuff. We've seen the FTC and FCC put in a regulation very similar to what we're looking at right now for email. So if you had to look into a crystal ball, I would say go and read the CAN-SPAM Act. Okay, I'm going to drop it in here. Okay, CAN-SPAM. There are some trigger words in there. There's also words that are in the title. That's where the whole A and B testing, if you're like big on, communications, that's why we do A and B testing. Now, I guess you were thinking you never had to do that with text messages to this extent. You're going to have to start doing them. So see if there's any of those trigger words, those keywords in there, those words that can be misled because so many spammers, the bad guys did it. They messed it up for the good guys. That's actually what we're looking at. So CAN-SPAM, if you had to look into a crystal ball, figure out if you're doing everything according to some of their guidelines. I promise you that FTC and FCC have gotten much better about being less technical in their speak. So they're required to say it in a way that you understand. And now they have hotlines that you can actually call. So if Amber sparks something in you, you can call and actually talk to a rep and literally walk them through your scripts. Ask them what are some of the options that you can do, and they can help you get to the next level. Now, here's the thing. If any of my lady pros that are on here are tied to like a government position or something, or you have advocacy roles, please write in, advocate for the small business to let them know that there is a whole population of good guys, right? That's being kind of like reprimanded because of the bad guys. Maybe we can use another data point, offer solutions, but sometimes it takes all of us to come together to say, this is not fair. Here's another thing that you can do instead of punishing all of us. Very similar to what's happened with the email, industry. If you write an email communication, if you use MailChimp, right, or Constant Contact, you now notice that you don't have to upgrade and purchase a spam filter. It already comes with it. And a lot of third-party tools have a built-in spam filter. Go ahead and run your stuff through it. Let's see what the percentage of spamminess is in there. Modify your messaging and see if the messages go out. And remember, something that I tell all my conquerors is whatever you do with your customers, the customer journey on a monthly basis, please roll yourself into the customer journey. Because for some of our business owners, they set it and they forget it kind of thing. And they think it's just going to continue running until they figure out invoices aren't paid on time. I'm not getting the results that I need. I wasn't monitoring my KPIs. So there's multiple things that you can do as a business owner to figure out that you're not being impacted when it's too late. So Amber, I love all the tips and the bites that you've given us. And I really feel like if there's a lady pro watching this on rewind and she's like, dang it, I knew my messaging was good. I did everything that was right. And technology got in the way. Listen up, lady pros. This isn't going to be the first time. This isn't going to be the last time. You can bet that these communications are going to be filtered in a couple of different ways, but at least now you have that level of awareness. It might still be in the red zone. Remember the matrix that we looked at? But you have to take action and accountability to bring it down. So Amber, give us like one or two things that you want to challenge our lady pros that are watching today that they can also do.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Definitely take that first step. So I challenge you ladies to write down all of the softwares or all points of communication that you're using to communicate with your customers. Okay. So if it's House Call Pro, because like I said, that sends out text messages. If you're using a voice over IP, like a Vonage or Grasshopper, or there's a ton of them, Nextiva. Okay. Just brainstorm anything that you have to log into to send a text message. Do a brain dump. The next thing I want you to do is to contact their customer support and ask them. I'll try to do verbatim. You can, let me see, verbatim. I would say, how do I word it? Now I'm on the spot. Verbatim, I would say something like, hi, I wanted to make sure and see if there's any business profile or any information that I need to submit to make sure that my text messages don't get blocked with the new regulations. I always mention that with the new regulations because most of them, so not most of them, some people won't know what you're talking about, and we need to let them know the seriousness of it. And if they say, I don't know, we need to very politely say, are you sure? Is there any way you could please double check? Because this is a new regulation. And I'll give you what it's called. I'll type it in. A2P 10 DLC is what it's called. And you can copy that down. Ask them specifically if they have a process for that. That is my biggest challenge to you ladies, is if you have that, that's the first step. That's well, I guess Irum did the first step, is actually double checking your website and things like that. But that would be the next thing, is definitely contact, and you have to contact each of them individually because each company has their own process. So that would be my challenge. And if you ladies have any questions, I'm in the Lady Pro group. So I will try to be proactive and drop any updates or anything like that. So feel free to tag me, and I will try to answer any questions that I can to help support that. Like I said, specifically House Call Pro, I did double check their process, and this is what they told me just literally before the call, is that if you log into House Call Pro and you go to your text message, like the phone number or the inbox area, there will be a big red banner if you have not registered. And if you're not sure, I would still reach out anyway and just triple check.
Yep. Yeah. And feel free to reach out to me as well. I'll make sure we get you sorted.
Awesome. Yeah, they're going to get back with me. I put in a support ticket to see if there's a way to even double check. And I don't know if you know this, Lillie, or not, but if there's a way to double check if a message has been delivered or failed. So they're putting in a support ticket for me to see, like, is there a way to check? I think in the inbox section, there's like a little check mark that says this has been delivered to the customer on your behalf. So I'm thinking that's the answer, but I just wanted to like triple check and confirm that.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, I also don't know 100%. I absolutely should, but I know for email, it shows the delivery, yes or no, you said. And I believe with text message as well.
I think I saw a check mark there. So I'm pretty sure that I just wanted to, yeah. So if I get any updates, I'll let you guys know in the community as well.
Does anyone, Deborah, any of you all have any questions? Anna, Angela, I'm so glad y'all were able to join. And Angela, I'm glad that you're in the LayPros Facebook group. It is. It's the Facebook Live that we're on right now is pinned to the top of the group, so you can go back and watch it anytime.
Yeah, I know it's a lot to take in, so it might be hard to have questions right now. It's a lot. It is understandably a lot to take in. So if anyone has any questions afterwards, feel free to, like I said, ping me. If I don't respond, shoot me a private message because I might miss it. So I don't want to miss any questions.
Yeah, and Amber is in our LayPros Facebook group too. All right.
Awesome. Amber, thank you so much. This was so good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to package some things together behind the scenes with you and Lillie. So our LayPros have just like a mini packet or a checklist to go through. And I think we can put that together really quickly and just kind of reference this back. But I would love the LayPros to figure out a KPI so they can monitor what's being opened and what isn't being opened. Thanks again for just leaning in. And Lillie, I'll tee it back over to you.
Yes. Yeah. I don't have much more to add. We'll give you 5 more minutes back in your evening so you can digest this and decompress and then get to it later on tonight with burning that midnight oil.
Yes, because literally every day that you wait could be a day that's affecting you. So yes, please take action.
It's so true. Yeah. Don't wait until that August 31st deadline. I am curious what happens after that deadline, if there's any.
Oh, I guess I could mention that. Okay, so here's what to do if your messages are getting blocked, okay? Because the registration has to be submitted and approved by the deadline. And right now I'm seeing anywhere from 5 to 10 days to literally 2+ months for getting approval. If this happens, contact, again, your software and voice over IP people. Ask them if you can register a toll-free number as a backup. Toll-free numbers have a little bit more flexibility, and they were in fact actually designed for mass text messaging. And so you'll have to register that as well, but you can still send text messages while it's pending. So that's been like one of my little like ninja secrets that I've been doing, because I've had some people that they got completely blocked. I'm like, boom, let's switch you over to a toll-free, and it was the immediate solution, and while the local number was waiting to get approved. So yeah.
That's a really good workaround. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Well, thanks so much, LayPros. Thanks, Amber and Deborah and Mai, for joining in our green room. All right. See you, LayPros, later. I'm going to burn the midnight oil and start creating this sheet for you guys. Okay. So be on the lookout.
Thank you, Irum.
Well, thank you, everyone. Nice meeting you. Thanks for having me.
Amber, great to meet you too. Thank you. And thank you to Calvin as well for
yes,
being.
thank you, Calvin.
Right,
awesome.